Hello there! I'm Scotty. You're not. Why is it off? Welcome back to the 12 Days of Christmas. We're on day... Oh, Christ. 9. David Copperfield. And no, not the guy who can make an elephant disappear. I'm talking about the classic Charles Dickens tale. Told a little bit different with anthropomorphic animals and cheese monsters and moldies. And of course, music. Musical numbers. It was an animated film that premiered on NBC in 1993. 30 years ago. That hit me. I was like, shit. I'm old. You know, in 1993, I was 6 years old. I was 6! 6! And now I'm 36. What happened? I got this thing. I got this thing growing out of my face. Ow! Don't pull on your beard, ladies and gentlemen. Gentlemen. Ladies. Well, ladies might have beards. Beard ladies. Who knows? So, the story of David Copperfield. I never read the book, so I couldn't tell you that. I read some other stories like Treasure Island and Robinson Crusoe, and Kidnapped, and all that stuff back in the day. I barely remember Kidnapped, though, out of all those three. But anyway, the story here is that David Copperfield is born to a woman, and we don't see the dad. He died or left before Davy's birth, and there's this villain guy named Mr. Murdstone who wants to marry Clara Copperfield, Davy's mother, and once that happens, he throws Davy in his workshop and intends to win Clara's fortune and have a bunch of money to buy something. I don't know. So honestly, this opening scene, okay, David Copperfield is born. Father's not there. But we're introduced to Aunt Betsy. Now, I know this was a thing in the book that she doesn't like boys. But we have to give a nice 3-minute song number to her about how she doesn't like boys. She hates boys. Which doesn't really go anywhere because she ends up helping David at the end. Yeah. We also find out at this point about Mr. Murdstone's plan to marry Clara Copperfield for the money, apparently. So, 2 things. 1, David Copperfield himself was played by Julian Lennon, the son of the late, great John Lennon. And he sings pretty well. And Mr. Murdstone is played by Michael York, who you would know as Basil Exposition from the Austin Powers movies. Yes, and he is fantastic as Mr. Murdstone. He really brings out that villain. Although Mr. Murdstone is joined by his rat sidekick, Mr. Grimsby, who I was shocked to find is voiced by... I had it. Richard Dumont. You don't know who that is. That's Sardo. No, mister. Accent on the dough. Have you seen our vomit? Alright, 20. But I'm losing on the deal. That's right. Sardo. From Are You Afraid of the Dark? I'm like, I know that voice. Why does it sound familiar? Looked it up. It is... Oh. Richard Dumont. Yes. So we hear Murdstone's plan now, but then we flash to, according to the candles on the cake, 15 years later. So Davy is 15 now. And Mr. Murdstone is just getting to his plan of marrying her. 15 years? You've been cooking up this plan. It took you 15 years to do it. And Clara just accepts the proposal because she wants to protect David. I'll be calling him Davy for most of this, so you know. Protect Davy, right? Davy sings probably my favorite song, I'll Be Your Hero. I'll be your hero. I'll be your Robin Hood. I'll be your Lancelot. That song is the one I remember it from. Oh, of course, the other song that's memorable Is There Anyone? But that's like a love ballad between him and Agnes. We'll get to it. Oh, and another one of my favorites. You gotta be street smart. But this one is probably my favorite. It's Robin Hood and stuff. And I grew up with Robin Hood, Disney version, the Kevin Costner version, so that's fun. Who's Ivanhoe? Oh, there's a knight, I can tell by his uniform, but so is Lancelot, so I don't know. But yeah, you know, he sings this song about he'll be your hero. She still accepts the proposal, and they get married. And then, out of nowhere, she gets sick. And Murdstone refuses to let her see a doctor. And to no one's surprise, she ends up dying. Am I to think, because she seemed fine before, so am I to think that he poisoned her to get her money? It's never explicitly said, and because this is a kid's movie, they wouldn't put that in there. But he planned on marrying her to get her money. And then they got married, and then she got sick, and then she died. And he, no. Okay, so he planned to marry her, and that happened, to get her money. And then she got sick, and he refused to let her see a doctor, and then she died. You put two and two together, seems to me like he poisoned her, but they didn't always spell it out. But Davy gets shipped off to work in his cheese factory, and I am ashamed that they use cheese in such a way. How dare they disrespect the cheese by making it part of an evil scheme. It is here where he meets Mealy, a dog, who I thought was named Dodger, but I realized that was Oliver Twist, or Oliver and Company. He meets Mealy. And the two monkeys. I forgot the guy's name. They're Monkey Man. We'll call him Monkey Man. Who they stay with. And they have to pretend to be mean to save face with Murdstone, but he's actually a nice guy, he and his wife, you know. But while out and about before he gets shipped off, he meets the Duke and his daughter Agnes, and they become love interests. The love at first sight thing that you see in many TV shows that isn't real at all whatsoever. You might think it is, but you know, it's probably just guess. But yeah, so he's taken away. They plan to have a dinner or something with them, and they don't show up. So Agnes goes looking and finds him and Mealy. You know, the Monkey Man teaches him about imagination. It was an interesting song. Mealy sings the song of the movie Street Smart, which is a great song because he plans to leave and go get help. Especially after he finds out. So, this part confused me. So, Mom dies, right? And we find out that she changed her will. Obviously, everything goes to Davy. So, change her will. So, Murdstone decides to go after, to try to find the will. But, if Davy died in some sort of accident, wouldn't it automatically go to him? Right? Because he's the next of kin, technically. So why not just kill off Davy? Although, he sort of does, but he's trying to find this. And to show you how pointless the plot point of changing the will and hiding the will is, he finds it like that. Like, Macabre. Macabre is the Monkey Man. As soon as they can't find it in Clara's house, they go to the Macabres and find it in a chimney. It's like, really? Really, Peggotty? You couldn't find a different Peggoty's than made, by the way. Find a better place to put it than an obvious place. They find it, and that doesn't really go anywhere. Obviously, it's set up for Davy, but But Davy's plan is to escape, and he and Agnes eventually do. They're pursued, but they eventually escape. Macabre and Mealy are shoved in this area. So earlier, they mentioned two things. The cheese monster, who is a vulture and not actually made of cheese, which is disappointing to me, and the Moldies, which are workers who disobeyed Murdstone and are thrown down in this catacombs and get covered in old moldy cheese. And so when Macabre and Mealy get thrown down there, they're afraid they're going to become Moldies. No surprise, the cheese monster and the Moldies were not in the book. But the cheese monster overhears Mealy and Davy talking about how they're fattening him up so that Murdstone could eat him. I don't know. That does go somewhere, but it's not as big of an inclusion as you would think. But so Davy's plan is to escape with Agnes and find Aunt whatever her name was. Aunt Clara. No, that's the mom's name was Clara. Aunt hates boys. To find her. And so to show you how pointless that whole song about hating boys was, you know, I hate boys. Aunt Betsy. They get there. Well, first of all, they're chased around by Murdstone and Grimby. They fall down a freaking waterfall, not with the water, but off a tree, and they survive because cartoon kids movie. And then they end up on Aunt Betsy's door, and she has this another necessary thing. This bird that speaks so weird, parrot, and then the robin that follows Davy around talks to it, and they tell Aunt Clara that they need help. And Aunt Betsy, that they need help, and she's with it. He's like, wait, you don't hate boys? No. Oh, she's always changing her mind. But yeah, so it tells you how pointless the I hate boys thing was. Like, maybe it was a plot point in the book where she said she hated boys, but then she really didn't. But they dedicate a whole song to it. It's almost as pointless as, I don't know, the Shredder singing a song about how much he hates music. Let me say that again. The Shredder singing a song about how much he hates music. Music! I hate music. Music. I think it's worse. Oh, don't worry, we'll get to that in February. Trust me. But yeah, it's kind of pointless, this whole... I mean, I know it's in the book, but to have a whole song and dance about it is kind of pointless. So she leads this army like she's a suffragette from Mary Poppins, and comes in waving a sword while Murdstone is trying to get Agnes's dad, the Duke, to sign off on this thing. And if I heard correctly, he is buying the cheese factory from the Duke. Like, the Duke owns it and he's gonna buy it to own it. Why, so we can keep getting away? I don't know, it's confusing. But the Duke ends up helping the cause, and they take out Murdstone, and he and Grimsley goes to jail. And we have a big party, and Agnes and Davy, they have a smoochy time, and Mealy and Macabre are somewhat moldy, but they find out, hey look, the sun makes it crack open. Kind of like mud, right? Which is probably all it was, because you put mud in the sun, it dries, and you can just peel it off your skin, right? Right? So it's probably just mud, moldy cheese mud, I don't know. This was an interesting return to this movie. Didn't think it needed to be 90 minutes though, but you know, who knows? You take out the I Hate Boys song. You could take out some of the extra stuff here and there. Like, you didn't really need to have Murdstone and Grimsley chased after Davy once he left. Because really, they didn't need to worry about him. But I guess they need to see through that he might be dead. So, who knows? Yeah, watching this, I wasn't sure if the mom actually died or not. but she did. Again, though, something I didn't catch when I was a kid and caught now is that Murdstone probably poisoned her. I'm just saying. So, what are your thoughts on David Copperfield? Not the magician. This thing. Let me know, comment, so much, like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'm Scotty. I'll see you in the next one.